Hey y'all, welcome back to Pine Life Hunting Stories. Today we're going to be telling a story on a buck that we call Tallboy. So this will be the story of Sarah and Tallboy. Okay, this story about this property starts back in 2016. In 2016, I acquired this property from a lady because there had been some people that had evidently been on her property. They did have permission many years before, but they had not contacted the landowner in a while, and she had been back there and found some trail cameras and different things, and there was some trash. So she came to me and asked me if I wanted to lease it to keep people off her property. So of course I said yeah. Now the first couple we were able to turn that we found out who it was and was able to turn their equipment or their cameras and stuff back over to them. So anyway, back to the point. The first year, me and my dad had permission to hunt it, and my kids and stuff, and I went in there and hunted it, but really didn't see anything. I only hunted a couple times because we had such good deer hunting down here on my other leases next to the house. And in that time, I seen a few does, button bucks, and different things, but I only had that one good stand in a decent spot, and I hadn't learned to land real good. That stand I always got busted in because I was too deep in the bedding area or the travel area between their bed and feed. So I knew I was going to stay on this side of the power line. Well, the next year, I actually put a camera in there, and lo and behold, during the summer, we seen some pretty good bucks. As to this buck here, Tallboy. So, with that being said, I let the girls, we hung a buddy stand and basically looked at the wind, the topograph, we looked at everything and figured out where would be the best place to hang the stand. And what we did, we hung the stand on the upper end, tallest point of this clear cut or a power line that goes down, and there's a fence to another property, and then across the power line there's woods, and the deer cross back and forth between these two strips of woods. We have a super quiet way to get into it. We fixed everything where we're getting out real good, and little do we know how good this was going to pay off for the girls, as you will see in upcoming videos of more deer that's been taken off of it. But this in particular year, the girls had seen this deer. So my stepdaughters and my wife was hunting it, and they had seen this deer, but wasn't really sure if it was him or not a couple times, but he was never in range. So when juvenile come around, you go ahead and step in here, Sarah. And everybody, this is Sarah. And Sarah's the lucky hunter that took this deer. So me and Sarah went down to the property down here next to the lease, and or down on our lease next to the house, and she had took a 6-pointer that morning, which means she could only shoot a doe the rest of the day. And so we hunted that morning and celebrated, and hunted that afternoon. Well, the next morning we decide we're going to go to the lease in town and just see what comes through. So as we go, you think this is the end, probably 2 weeks before November. So we're not expecting the rut to hit till mid-November. So we're 4 weeks away from what we thought would be a rut, or any buck wouldn't respond to anything. But we went in kind of bare bones, just normal stuff. I didn't even take a grunt call, but I did take a camera. But in this situation, I wasn't able to record much. But we go and we set up in this stand, and everything breaks off. We hadn't been there long, and Sarah says to me, "There's a deer at the bottom." And I look, and I'm like, "Where?" She says, "Right there." I said, "I don't see no deer." And about 180 yards down the hill, it kind of has got a dog leg nook goes back in, and that deer was actually feeding on the other side of the trees. She was seeing glimpses of it. Well, he stepped out, and lo and behold, it was Tallboy. Well, me being anxious for her to be able to harvest this buck, I'm really pushing her to shoot at this deer. And I'm like, "Get on him, Sarah, get on him." And she gets the gun up, and she gets on him, and she's like, "He's too far away. I don't feel comfortable shooting that far." Said if he was halfway up the hill, I'd take a shot at him. Would you want to tell the story?
No.
Okay. So as we're sitting there. The deer walks across the bottom. No matter how much I prodded, she was not going to have no part of shooting that deer that far off. Now later, remember this is a couple years back. Sarah's she don't care to shoot a lot further than what she does now. But as the buck went on, he went into the set of woods that we walk out of. I look at her and I'm like, we just passed up Tallboy. We got to get him back up here. So she sets the gun down. I said, I don't even have a grunt call. So she sets the gun down between us and goes to her little backpack and unzips it and pulls out a grunt call that she had bought. Not one that I'd normally use, but it worked fantastic. I pulled that grunt call out. We kind of made a plan. I set the camera down and I grunted 3 times. And as I grunt, I turned to her and I said, now if he hears this and he's interested at all, he's going to come downwind through these woods and he's going to come right out here in range. Well, while we're discussing this, I go to blow the grunt call again. Here he comes from the bottom, wide open, galloping up the hill, and actually stops right where Sarah wanted to shoot him at probably 60 to 70 yards. Now, to paint the picture, Sarah's in the left side of the buddy stand. I'm in the right. There's not much room. I'm a 265-pound guy, 6'1". Now, Sarah, she's not that big. She's got plenty of room. But the gun's between us laying on its side. So here we are in a chess match with this deer, him staring, hair bristled up, ears dropped back, just mad at the world, ready to fight anything. So I'm taking my left arm, I'm on the right side, I'm trying to push the gun up to her. She's slowly getting her hand around the gun. This feels like it takes an hour. He stays right there, doesn't move. He just moves his head around. But every time he kind of tilted his head, we'd move a little bit. Well, I could see he was losing interest. And Sarah had just got her hand on the forearm and had her arm all the way around the gun and was sliding forward to bring it up when he lost interest. His hair laid down. His ears went to full alert. He kind of looked around. And I'm telling her, he's going to take off. He's going to take off. Get ready. And she got that gun up perfect, got it to her shoulder, got seat in. I said, you on him? She said, of course, we're whispering really low. The deer takes one step and turns, and I said, I'm going to stop him. And when he stops, you let him have it. And as he takes his first step, I look at her, she's good. I go, man, he stops. No sooner than all 4 feet stop moving, she pulls the trigger, hits him. He mule kicks almost all the way forward, takes a couple steps on his front legs. His nose almost touched the ground. He takes off barreling through the woods, just sound like a freight train going through there. Well, of course, I'm going to get excited. I'm so excited for her. Even though I didn't harvest the deer, I was there with her while it happened. So I end up grabbing her, hugging her, kissing her. We're hollering. Or not hollering, but we're really ecstatic. She's shaking, couldn't catch her breath. We're both just got that feeling that every hunter lives for. So we opt not to go after him immediately. We discuss it and we call her mom and my dad and call the family, her sister and different things. And they all come down to help us track this deer. Now, as the deer, where we went, we had, of course, automatically, we had blood. When we started into the woods, there was no doubt the path this deer took. He didn't make it. That 308 ate him up with that ballistic tip. He might have made it 80 yards, plowing through trees. So we get down there and realize this thing's pretty much the size of a horse. Everybody was excited. It was Sarah's biggest kill. She had bragging rights. And she also won the big buck contest for 2018 with this deer. By the way, her and my dad was almost neck to neck with this deer. So anyway, we got him and got him back home and strung him up. The deer ended up weighing 205 pounds field dressed, or 205 pounds on hoof. I think he scored somewhere around 128. And as you can tell, the deer has super long beams, heavy mass. He's kind of short tine to be the age that he is, but that's just a characteristic of these deer. And in another video I'm going to be doing, you will see that my wife's deer that she killed last year is very similar to this deer. But 205 pounds, 180 pounds field dressed, 200 or 170 pounds field dressed is just a trophy of a lifetime, especially to a 16-year-old girl. So we wanted to tell the story of Sarah and Tallboy. So I hope you enjoyed this. Expect more videos, and as always, God bless. You tell everybody bye, Sarah?
No.
Bye.